Hi YouTube, welcome to my stairwell. Thank you for joining us here. We've got Will behind the camera. He's right here, his handle. Check him out, multi-talented of course. Today we're gonna go through a little bit of a workout. We're gonna do an upper posterior chain workout. So essentially hitting the muscles from, think about hips up at the back of your body. So posteriorly, we're gonna hit a few of those. Got a lot of joint soreness. So latest update on the nerve pain. So for those who don't know, I'm suffering with pretty significant nerve pain that rushes down both my arms, down my biceps, into my forearms and into my thumbs, which makes typing and other things difficult to do. So I saw a sports doctor. I've got to go get an MRI, an X-ray, an MRI on my spine, and I've got to go see a neurologist as well. So that's coming up in the next few weeks, which should be about as fun as gouging your own eyeballs out. But in terms of our workout, upper posterior chain, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end of this. So I asked you guys over on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, my handle is right here somewhere. We're going to do a Q&A. So you guys have asked me questions, health, fitness, lifestyle, sleep, digestion related. We're going to talk maybe about Harry Potter. There's a couple of questions in there about that. There's a couple of very, how do I put it, inappropriate questions from people that you know, Will, that we might answer those as well. We'll see what we're getting to, but let's go jump to the workout. We're gonna start off our A series with power cleans. So I've got a lot of niggles and stuff at the moment. So power cleans is, for me, focusing a lot on this upper posterior chain. This sort of high pull, getting a lot of traps, rhomboids in there as well. So I'm just working up to a relatively heavy single. I'm not very good at this exercise at all. I don't work out on it a lot, so that's probably why I'm not very good at it. A lot of mobility issues, as a lot of you probably have. They're a great exercise, explosive strength, generate a lot of power, a lot of force production from the floor, utilizing a lot of muscle groups as well. Really cool, efficient exercise for getting a lot of power development, especially if you are an athlete in probably most sports. This is a good exercise potentially for you that's going to help with your sport. So we're going to start with just build up to a relatively heavy one rep with this particular exercise. So with the movement specifically, we're essentially trying to keep the bar traveling in a straight line. So we want to go from the floor, bar wants to come past our knee. Power clean wise, or clean, want to make contact with the top of our quad. Wants to hit our quad and then travel in this sort of vertical plane before we make that catch. Try not to let the weight come too far away from our body. We want to keep it nice and tight where we're strongest. So next up, we're going to go with a Deficit Pendlay row. So for those of you who don't know, these are Olympic lifting shoes. So as you can see with these, we've got this elevated heel. It allows people, especially with poor ankle mobility, to be able to get a greater range in their squats, especially their Olympic lifting front squat, back squat, overhead squats, power cleans, snatches, etc. So you've probably seen a lot of weightlifters use this. If you've got really poor ankle mobility like I have, I've got a lot of scar tissue building in my left one, so there's a significant imbalance. Even though if I do mobilize and stretch and all that sort of crap, I've still got this significant imbalance. So I use these on leg presses as well. It allows me to get a lot of range. Also, if you look, it's a very, very flat surface here as well. So when we are doing any of these lifts, back squat, front squat, etc., we've got this nice flat base from which to press up from. So that's why I like using Olympic lifting shoes. Again, not necessary for everybody, but again, for someone who's got a poor range of motion, I like them. So Deficit Pendlay row. So again, generate a lot of force in this sort of horizontal plane. We're going to be like this basically in a second. I like going from a deficit with a lot of things because we allow our muscles to get in this end range of motion, which we normally wouldn't work from. It's cool using it, again, be very specific with your training. Don't just use it because it looks fucking fancy on Instagram, like don't, even on YouTube. Don't do it just because I'm doing it, it looks kind of cool. Do it if you're ready for it. If you're a complete beginner, I wouldn't try a lot of these things. Get used to using your body efficiently and working efficiently first. But if you're a bit more intermediate advanced, by all means go for something like this. And the reason why I say that is that the risk, as we start to become more creative with our movements, the risk of injury is much, much higher. You don't want to do something and just because you were trying to be a dickhead, basically, don't do it. So Deficit Pendlay rows, allowing the muscle to get in this sort of end range or more end range of motion, not complete. but more so that when we come and regress back to a normal Pendlay row, which is just from the ground without the plate, we're able to generate a lot more force from the bottom of that movement, from the initial pull of that movement. So you'll see me, I like using these a lot with deadlifts as well. So from a deadlift, standing up on the plate, for example, and pulling from here in a phase of training or a block of training, then when we get down to the floor, you're going to be much stronger in your initial pull. So deficit Pendlay row is what we're about to do. Be careful with these, especially if you've got quite tight hamstrings. This may be not a great exercise to you until you get a little bit more mobility, because you are relying on your hamstrings and glutes, a sort of lower spine as well, to stabilize you a lot in this movement. So if you're tight in those areas, maybe don't go straight into this, especially with a heavy load.
Me before I broke my leg, so.
Oh, is it? You'll hit it?
Hope so.
You'll hit it for sure.
I just did 160.
That's right. What's your pump up? Let's put a song on for you. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Nice. Good. Yeah. How'd it feel?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. The way it moves.
Yeah, it's when I go out of the bottom, all of a sudden my back's just starting to hurt.
Flexion.
And I told you before, my hamstrings coming up early.
Yeah. Generally with that, so if we're looking at this, we've got a lot of this sort of disconnect with the relationship from hamstring, quad, and spinal erectors.
Yeah.
So if you're super strong, sort of here down, that's going to shoot, and then we've got to go, okay, shit, I've got to try and compensate and come here.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, spinal erectors,
Yeah, it was the same with my cleans yesterday.
strengthen the fuck out of those. So doing a lot more weighted, like good mornings are going to be a great exercise. GHD, downstairs, barbell, GHD are going to help a hell of a lot. And doing a lot more rowing, just like heavy as fuck rowing, because that's going to help you keep in this position here. So now when we add load to that position, you can maintain this upright torso. Because you think about it, that's going slack, because yeah, but you're stronger here relative to here, but lats aren't strong enough to keep in this position under an 180 kilo bar. So they're doing a lot more of that. It'll just allow you to sit up in this position much easier. When we used to do like intense challenges at the gym I used to work at, this was my pump up song, and I'm gonna show you it right now. And it's awesome as fuck. So everyone's got like their pump up song, right? Logan's was Pump It Up. Ironically, it was Pump It Up. My pump up song is this. If you know the words, please sing along. Like for real, like legit, this is the song. You are my fire, the one desire. When I say I want it that way, I want it that way. Tell me why. You seen like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the episode with this is arguably the greatest TV comedy episode of all time. It's brilliant. It's iconic as hell. Didn't feel too bad still. The nerve pain in my arms, it's hard to grip hold of stuff, especially under fatigue, which is gonna be a natural occurrence there. With that sort of pronated grip, because we're flexing a lot of muscle here in our forearms, that bar becomes very, very hard to hold, and it sort of aggravates this nerve here. I generally pull something, strain something, like you can feel it go, right? Like something will happen, oh fuck, that didn't feel too good. With my arms, nothing like that happened at all. I woke up one day and the pain was like 10 out of 10. So much so that I couldn't sort of move my hands without like sort of straining this nerve. MRI in 2 weeks, X-ray next week, and neurologist in 2 weeks as well. So they can run more tests to see if I've damaged any particular nerves. So all in all, Will, it sucks a big fat one. I feel if I just stand here I can feel this pull here and here. Because there's no diagnosis, I don't know what to do or not do yet. So I'm just sort of doing everything until I get a diagnosis. So right now we're about to go downstairs and do some more upper back work. So see you there.
You used to work at Impact?
I used to work at Impact.
First time I went there, I then said I didn't train for about 10 minutes because I was too busy just looking everywhere. Eddie Hall's brother there.
Eddie came in last year, and that guy is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Like, he's from not far away from where I grew up, and he's the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life. You know the cables downstairs?
Yeah.
It's like the dual cables, the narrow ones, not the wide ones.
Yeah.
But both of those, so you set up a cable, do like tricep extensions, right?
Yeah.
So when Eddie Hall was doing it, he had both stacks set up with the bar in between, just doing tricep extensions with both, like repping it out on both bars. I mean, there's God knows how many went there. Like, I honestly just took my pockets in my pants and walked home. I was like, I'm out. I was like, I'm not training near you. Alright, mates, enjoy.
See you later.
We're doing a unilateral seated row here. So I like working unilaterally, single limbs. It helps fix up any imbalances. Generally, you're going to have a stronger side from right to left, for example. So this helps, A, be able to figure out which is the stronger side or the weaker side, if you want to go that route. But it's also going to help us create more of a balance with that. So we're going to do a seated row, but predominantly a lat-focused seated row. Okay, so generally we'll sit nice and upright with the seated row, lat focus. I'm going to have a nice stretch, as you'll see in a second. So they try and incorporate as much of this tissue here as much as I can. Notice on that one, with a little bit of a hinge in my hip, which is absolutely fine. So I'm trying to take this tissue here, lengthen it as much as I possibly can, so that I can come back into this position. If you notice as well that I'm rowing relatively low as well. I'm not trying to pull back here. Again, lat focus. I'm trying to do this. Because what we know, and this is why it's important for coaches and even people to at least know very basic anatomy, is that our lats depress our humerus, so this bone in here, our lat basically allows us to be able to take this from here down to here. So knowing that, we can challenge that muscle specifically, and we can make sure that we're essentially training it how it functions. A lot of people will do, and I'm all for innovation, but for the most part, innovation needs to be very, very specific to what you're trying to do. A lot of people will just create it because it looks cool, but its function doesn't make any sense. So we need to know what the function of the muscle is first and foremost before we can think about, okay, how do we challenge that muscle? So we're going to do 4 sets of around 10 to 12 reps here. With any exercise, knowing how to recruit that muscle as well. So even this lat pull down, it's not enough to go, okay, I'm just going to pull as much weight as I possibly can. Think about what the muscle's doing. So I want to think about contracting and getting as much stimulus out of this muscle as I possibly can. Then we're going to think about sort of try to challenge it as much as possible as well. So again, it comes down to, I think I mentioned before, is like skill acquisition is super, super important. Learning the skill of the movement. Once you learn the skill of the movement, we can apply a lot of force and a lot of load, but we need to still nail the movement itself. We had our cleans, very neurologically taxing. Deficit Pendlay rows, again, neurologically taxing, being a lower rep range. We do some seated row, did 4 sets of 12 there, and then we're going to do a supinated. So anything supinated, palms towards you, okay, in this position. And we're going to do a close grip supinated lat pull down. So that's what we're going to do now. Again, we're going to go for 4 sets of around 8 to 10 reps here. So focus for this one. So it's still a lat pull down. We'll still try to get a little bit of lat, but I mainly want rhomboid focus, which essentially is the muscles on the inside of your scapula, around your shoulder blade sort of area. So we're still lengthening as much as we can, and then we're thinking about driving those shoulder blades back as we're flexing that elbow, okay? But with any exercise, remember, the muscle that recruits first will work the hardest. So a lot of people when they're doing lat pull downs and row variations is they'll feel it in their bicep. We'll get a little bit of bicep, but it's an accessory muscle, right? So we want mainly the focus in our back. So my tip is recruit that first. So from this position, think about this position before this position. So in here, retraction, pulling back with those shoulder blades, and then drag the elbow down. Hello friends, and welcome to my place. I don't know if I was using that correctly, by the way. So any yogis out there, please let me know how I messed that up. So we were chatting, me and Will, a little bit during my set, and we ended up randomly somehow touching on mindset, and I think it's a super important thing to talk about, especially in our social media driven world. In the YouTube space, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the social media platforms that you guys are on. And it's important because I think we need to have a really clear, a very honest look at our identity and what we're trying to do on there. There's the health and fitness space, in my opinion, is arguably the most important industry almost that we have, you know, like it's going to help us feel better, feel healthier, feel healthier, live a long, happy, fruitful and fulfilled lifestyle. And it's also probably the most broken industry as well in the world, because there's so many people that are out there that are trying to, yes, do things purely for the sake of this financial reward, but more importantly that there's people out there that are trying to do things because other people are doing them. And that's cool. Like looking up to someone for inspiration is amazing, but what you've got to understand is that if you're looking up to this particular person, an influencer, let's use that for an example, and I've got nothing inherently against influencers. I know a few very, very sort of established influencers, are beautiful, beautiful people, but you've got to remember that you've got to stay true to yourself. And a lot of people struggle with a lot of anxiety, depression, all these other mental sort of ailments and illnesses, generally, not always, but generally, especially in the social media space, because they're trying to do something that's not inherently them. They're being disingenuous to their own identity. What I'd advise for people is firstly, have a really clear picture of your own life. What do you want out of your life? Not somebody else, not your parents, not your friends, family, but what do you actually want out of your life? And then pursue that with just this relentless passion. Your passions are very interesting. You generally don't get pushed into them. You know, you get pulled towards them also, like this external force that is dragging you towards it. And I think that's really important to understand what you actually want out of your life and not become blindsided by the shiny objects, by the followers, the likes. I think one of the best things Instagram ever did was just take away the like account, because we are very much like sheep as human beings. Like we look and say, oh, that one's got 1 million likes, I'm gonna like it as well. And sometimes you look at it and go, why the fuck did I like that? I don't even know. You know, I don't really like that person, I know that person. And it's something that's really powerful and inspiring and helps a lot of people. Might have 10 likes, you probably just quickly scroll past it. Oh, like, that's not got much value. Like we put value in very, very interesting things, I think. And with the looking at yourself and understanding your identity, only you are going to know what a life of fulfillment means to you. And what I mean by that is, without going too much into it right now in this vlog, is that finding something in your life that creates complete happiness. And that's generally going to be what is genuinely truthful to you. And it's easy to get, again, blindsided by the obstacles that come into our life, the shiny things, the social media, the quote unquote fame, the followers, the money that might come with it. But as most people will tell you that have achieved that, it isn't everything. And it never stops. Once you get money, you want more money. You get followers, you want more followers. You get likes, you want more likes. There's no fulfillment that's ever gonna satisfy that need. But if you were, for example, to go, a life of fulfillment, looks like, for me, not me personally, but as you using the audience today as an example, is that I want to have a job that I genuinely love. It doesn't matter what it is. I love animals, for example. Cool. I'm going to work at a zoo. I'm going to go be a veterinarian or something of that nature. Something that just brings me the utmost joy. Great. That's part of your life of fulfillment. Family. I want to have 2 kids and I want to have a beautiful partner, and we're going to go on 2 holidays, 1 holiday per year to a place that we all sort of agree on. Great, that's another part of your life of fulfillment. Creating these little elements of cumulative will create this fulfillment for you, and that will change along the way, but you've got to be really, really honest with yourself about what it is that you actually want out of your life and not be sort of distracted by the quote unquote shiny thing. So I hope that helps some of you guys. Leave us a comment below if you are struggling. We'd love to know, because again, like, suffering in silence is going to be at your detriment. Share, and I know it's hard, and if you are struggling, like, my details are below. Drop me an inbox on Instagram or drop me an email, and I'd love to help you out and have a chat with you. I go through this on a day-to-day basis with my own clients. A lot of them suffer with exactly what we're speaking about and other things as well. So don't suffer in silence is what I want you guys to take away from this, and be very, very true to your own identity. You got this. You got this. You can do this. You can do this. Oh, hi. Nice to see you here. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, ladies and gents. We did an upper posterior chain workout. We did some power cleans. We did some deficit Pendlay rows. We did some seated row, lat focus, and we did some supinated lat pull down. Workouts don't need to be overly complex. Just think about the outcome and do whatever it takes to get there. So now I'm going to answer some questions that you guys sent us on Instagram. Link is below to my Instagram page, but we're going to put it here again just in case you're not following me on there. Make sure you follow myself and Will, of course. His will be in there as well. You guys sent me some questions on Instagram, so guys, I want you to make sure you go follow me on there, and so that you can join in on the next Q&A. So we're about to go home and answer some questions. Let's go! Hello YouTube. Q&A time. We ain't got long because this battery is about to die. So I asked you guys on Instagram to shoot me a question, and we're going to go through just a couple of these quite quickly. So, counting calories versus macros, what is most important? So overall, the total caloric intake that you consume over the day, more so not really over a 24-hour period, but over maybe a 7-day period, is a bit more accurate, because our metabolic processes don't go from 24 hours to 24 hours, they're much longer than that. So the overall caloric intake is very, very important. You need to be in a deficit for fat loss, you need to be in a surplus for significant muscle gain, and around that sort of maintenance level for just maintaining muscle mass and weight and all that sort of fun stuff. However, macronutrients, being protein, fat, and carbohydrates, do different processes. They do different metabolic processes in the body. So in my opinion, they are more important, because the macros are your macros will total your calories, but not the other way around. You can have, say, for example, 2,000 calories worth of carbohydrates. I mean, good luck trying to do that and be able to sustain daily life, because it's not that satisfying, to be honest with you, although it sounds it. So macros are more important because they will total your calories, which will put you in a deficit, a surplus. I told you we're gonna go fast. It's my girlfriend here, she's about to have a nap. Carbs at night. There's a few here that are the same. Carbs at night, bad for you. No carbohydrates at night. I can't believe people still believe this crap. But carbohydrates in general, they will release an amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor, which basically means secreted or created before serotonin and melatonin. So tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin, tryptophan goes into feel good, goes into melatonin, which gives you that sort of calming, relaxation, sleepy sensation. Okay, so at nighttime, carbohydrates are probably a good idea, because they're going to help you go into a deep sleep, depending on your caloric intake and all that sort of fun stuff as well. Where did your love of Harry Potter come from? Good question. Storytelling from J.K. Rowling is amazing, almost second to none, okay? Her story in itself is inspiring, so you definitely go check that out. Harry Potter, visually, it's stunning. It's done very, very well. The production value is there. The actor's amazing. If you've not seen it, please go check it out. If you're an avid reader, go read the books as well. It's one of the best things of all time. The best types of food. I mean, inherently, there's no best types of food. We want to err towards more whole grain, whole foods. So we're looking at full spectrum foods like, chickens, white meats, red meats, white fishes, salmons, lots of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, things of that nature. We want to eat predominantly those foods, and also not just that, a wide variety of foods. Our microbiome, being our gut environment, all the bacteria and cells and stuff all in here, respond really, really well to lots of different strands of bacteria, which are going to come from lots of different variety of food. And don't be afraid to throw a couple of cheeky little snacks in there, a little few cookies, which I'm about to go delve into in a second. A few little things in there just for life
in general. I mean, you don't have to. It's not going to do you a significant amount of harm, so don't be afraid of that. So that's a quick little Q&A, guys. Again, apologize for the battery. It was a little bit full, but it's depleting fast. And we've got a whole new, good workout that we've just been through as well. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of today's video. Please let me know in the comments what you liked, disliked, and also what you'd like to see in future vlogs. Until next time, but before you do, please like, subscribe, and share this video so others can get the same value as you did. And guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. My tag handle has been throughout this video, but it's here as well. And also, thank you so much for you guys being checking out the podcast. Loving your feedback. It's getting a very, very high positive rate of feedback on Apple Podcasts particularly. Spotify is secondary to that, but Apple's definitely the main place for the podcast. So, chatting about the podcast, before we go, if there's any guests that you want me to have on and collaborate with, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to chat with really cool, like-minded, interesting people. So until next time, God bless, take care, be happy, be healthy, peace.